I've been getting subscription boxes since 2018 and I have ended up building up quite the collection. And it's time for me to try and clear through some of this backlog. I still have books on these shelves from 2021 and I want to try and get through it. So the intention with this series is to try and clear through this backlog. However, as we all know, subscription box services are still going on and I do still get quite a few of them. So as the books are leaving, more books are coming in. My intention by the end of 2025 is to only have 2024 and 2025 releases on the shelves. Can we do it? We are starting off the year with 45 books. Let's see what we can do. Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today we are starting a new vlog series and I'm really excited about this. This has been inspired by Becca from Becca and the Books with her Shelve It or Scrap It videos, and there was one specific one where she accidentally, obviously she was doing the random number generator, accidentally kind of focused on subscription box books in one of her episodes, and I was like, you know what? It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but I was like, you know what, I really got to do this now. Like, this has really inspired me, this whole series, the Shelve It or Scrap It series, and then I need to get through my subscription box books. I have so many. I have a rather large backlist and I really need to get through them. So that's what this series is aiming to do. I want to, by the end of 2025, only have, for my subscription box books, only have like 2024 and 2025 releases left. And I say this knowing full well that right now I still have 2021 releases that I got in subscription boxes and haven't read yet. So got a lot of work to do. In the meantime, I am still subscribed to Fairyloot Adult, Fairyloot Romantasy, Illumicrate, Evernight, Afterlight. So I am still subscribed to 5 subscription boxes, and those books will continue to come in monthly unless obviously I skip them. So I have got to stay on my shit. Essentially, I've really got to sort myself out. Now, good news, February's Afterlight book, I already know what it is. I've already read it. Success for me. So on occasion this happens, I might get an arc and then it comes in a subscription box and I've already read it. Outstanding news. But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do, and I'm excited to get on with this because it's something that I've been thinking about, like I say, for a while, but have been really getting into wanting to do fully and having this idea completely since like October last year. So I'm really excited to get into it and get kick-started, and this only includes books that come in the subscription. This does not include books that I have then bought outside of the subscription, but from the services. So, you know, special edition books, the Bergman Brothers series, for example, from Illumicrate, doesn't include that. I am still going to try and get through it this year, but it doesn't include that. This is solely books that have come in subscription boxes. If I read a book from a subscription box and I bought the second one in the series, or even the third one in the series, and it's come from the subscription box and I'm enjoying it that much that I just want to carry on, I will do that. But in theory they also don't count because they didn't come in the subscription service. So we're trying to just focus on subscription box books. It's also stemmed from my box readathon with my patrons. We do an F1 24-hour F1 readathon every month, and then like every few months throughout the year we do a week round where we dedicate some time to subscription box books. So I did manage to get through a few last year, but I was also prioritizing books I had on my shelves that have come in other subscription boxes that I don't get. So this is to solely focus on those special edition books, the subscription books, you know? So I'm going to start off telling you about the 2 books that I'm definitely reading for this vlog, and then we will see what else I get to in this vlog. So the first one that I'm definitely reading, because this is 100% what I'm in the mood for, is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This did come in a Fairyloot box. I'm not sure when or what month or anything because I don't tend to keep those cards, but it did come in a Fairyloot box, and I'm really excited about reading this one because It's a 2024 release as well. Because I've just recently read Odd Spirits by S.T. Gibson, which is the novella that comes before this. Really, really enjoyed it. Didn't love David's character, but loved Reese and Moira. So I'm excited to explore that a little bit more. But I loved Odd Spirits, and I'm now just like, all I want to do is pick up Evocation. So it just seems to make sense. So I'm excited about picking this one up. It's about magic. David is I don't know what he is actually. When a family curse threatens the life of David, a medium, he will turn to the only person he's ever trusted, his sorcerer ex-boyfriend Reese, which means he will have to open up his heart to Moira, Reese's astrologer wife. Meet David, Reese and Moira for the first time as they navigate magic-riddled Boston through the hierarchical secret societies, family bonds from beyond the grave, and much more in this gorgeous, richly imagined novel. Clearly, Odd Spirits has come out since Evocation came out, and then I know that the second one in this series is coming out later on in 2025. So it's seems like a good time to get to this one, so I know whether or not I enjoy it enough to want to buy the second one in the series as this edition. So definitely going to be reading this. And then the other one that I'm definitely going to be reading, because it was on my January TBI, and you might remember if you've seen that recently, is God Killer by Hannah Kaner. I do have Sunbringer, and I know that the third one's coming out later on this year. So again, it would be good to know whether or not to buy the third one in this series, or if I don't enjoy it, whether or not I can get rid of them before the third one comes out with Illumicrate. Illumicrate? Illumicrate, good shout. So yeah, this one did get put on my TBR for a small book under 300 pages. I was pushing my luck with that. It's very much so just under 300 pages. This one says, "You are not welcome here, God Killer. Kissen's family were killed by zealots of a fire god. Now she makes a living killing gods and enjoys it. That is until she finds a god she cannot kill. Skedi, a god of white lies, has somehow bound himself to a young noble, and they are both on the run from unknown assassins. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, they must travel to the ruined city of Blenradden, where the last of the wild gods resides, to each beg a favour. Pursued by demons and in the midst of burgeoning civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the kingdom, and only they can be the ones to stop it." So I do have a Illumicrate and a Fairy Loot to start this vlog off. I would like to get to like I have Afterlight, Evernight, Fairy Loot Romantasy. I have Owlcrate Junior books still left over as well from when I was getting those as a rep. So I do have a lot that I can be getting to, but we'll see what else I decide to get to. I was going to do this in such a way that you know, depending on the month, because I'm going to do it once a month, depending on the month, I was going to see what I had from that month, read those, and if I could fit more in, I would do. And it was working out that like I had 3 books for January and I had 1 for February, but as you got later in the year, I had like 10 books for October, and I could bring some of those books forward to the some of the quieter months. However, I feel like doing it this way round, where I'm mood reading within the books, like the stack is already reduced to just subscription box books. I get to mood read within that. I feel like that's going to work better. I'm 100% in the mood for Evocation. Spice Road, for example, was an option for January, and I'm not in the mood for that. So this will work better, I think, and it will work better for me to pick up Spice Road maybe when I'm in the mood for that later on in the year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is how we'll start off. I will let you know how they get on and what else I decide to pick up for this vlog. Let's get into keeping it or eating it. Okay, hello, good evening. It's not Tuesday. I so desperately want to say Tuesday. It's the second day of this vlog, so I want to say Tuesday. It's Thursday. It's 6 p.m. I've been very busy trying to finish off Bookmas, which I've managed to do now, so that is boxed off. And I need to come on and give you an update on my reading. Oh dear. Okay, so the point of this video is to help me get through the backlog that I've got of subscription box books, regardless of how that happens, whether it be that the book is a new favourite and it's a 5-star read, whether it is a mid read, or whether it is a DNF and I'm just really not enjoying it. The whole point is to get these books read and either stay on my shelves or off my shelves for good. So, Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I was so confident in me enjoying this book. Listen, I wasn't confident in me enjoying this book at all till I read Odd Spirits last week. And then I was so confident in me enjoying this book that I posted it on my Instagram as my first post for 2025. So, imagine my disappointment 44 pages in when I made the decision to DNF this book. Now, two things are going on here. I am at war with myself because number one, it's getting it off my TBR, which is the whole point in this challenge. So that's a good thing. Number two, this is supposed to be my first pick of the year, and I did not want to start the year off with a DNF or anything less than like 4 stars. I did not want that for myself. I have decided, before I fully made the decision to DNF this, I did pick something else up so that my actual official first finished book of the year is a finished book with a rating and not a DNF, because that's not how I want to go into 2025. I really don't want to take that negativity into 2025. However, my second now book of the year, I'm not mentioning that first book obviously, but my second now book of the year is a DNF. Multiple reasons. First of all, I didn't think that I was necessarily going to like this before I read Odd Spirits. I read Odd Spirits, and in that you're following Reese and Moira, who are a married couple. He is a sorcerer and she is a tarot witch. Astrologer. She's an astrologer. We do get a glimpse of David in that book. And now I loved Reese and Moira. They've got some shit to work on, but I loved them. I didn't like David. However, in this book, we're following David. And in this, it seems like he has been possessed by a demon. And he reaches out to Reese, who has told him not to reach out to him. I need some space. Reese and David are exes. And Reese has specifically said to him after the events of Odd Spirits, don't reach out to me, I need some space, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, David's reached out, he needs some help with this demon. Now, I didn't know before I went into this that this is going to end up being a poly relationship. I have read reviews. Obviously, I do this every time that I'm starting to have doubts about a book. I go on Goodreads and read reviews, both negative and positive, but mostly negative reviews. And the positive reviews are talking about things like the writing style and the fact that this is a very character-driven book, not a plot-driven book. So if you are a plot-driven reader, you might struggle with this. So I need there to be both. I need there to be a plot and character development, because I really struggle with character-driven books. I do not like them. There needs to be some plot for me. So this is very character-driven. There isn't much in the way of plot. And the characters, I like Reese and Moira, but I have a horrible feeling that this is going to turn out to be a situation in which I end up disliking one of these characters, and I will continue to dislike David as much as I already do. So there is that, but also then a lot of people talking about this polyamorous relationship that does not appear poly anyway. So naturally, Moira and Reese are married, and right now the situation I'm in is that Moira doesn't get on with David. So how we end up in a situation, because obviously I've not got to this point yet, but how we end up in a situation where we're in a polyamorous relationship with these 3 people, I have no idea. And some of the spoilery reviews that I've read, I am not happy with this situation, and I therefore do not want to continue. So absolutely devastated about the situation. I truly am. I'm really gutted because I genuinely thought that after Odd Spirits I'd be really into this. I do have to be honest and say that Diary of Blood, I did read that by S.T. Gibson, and I liked it. It was okay. It did nothing special. On personal level, I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style. I just liked that it was fast to get through, in all honesty. But I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. So this is why I was apprehensive about this. And honestly, it's not surprising that I'm not enjoying this one. It is like wall-to-wall text in this. And on the basis that I didn't love the writing style in Diary of Blood, I probably wasn't going to enjoy this. But for some reason, Odd Spirits gave me a false sense of security with this series. So, fortunately, this hasn't worked out the way I hoped. I really thought that this was going to be a new favourite for me, and it's not. However, it does mean it's off my shelves. It does mean that I'm not now going to waste my money buying the second one from Fairy Loot or a normal copy. So that is great news in that sense. But yeah, I am feeling a little bit conflicted about this, and because I was feeling so conflicted about starting the year off with the DNF, I ended up pushing something else in front of it before I fully made the decision to DNF this. So there is that. We move. I now need something that's going to make me feel good and not run the risk of yet another DNF. Like, I don't mind having back-to-back DNFs with this series at all, because I anticipate that that will probably happen quite a lot, but I don't want them at the beginning of the year, because that's not how I want my year to continue at all with reading or with anything else. I am quite superstitious, so, you know, I won't walk under ladders, and I will salute a magpie whenever I see one. Things like that. So I don't want my year to start off negatively with a DNF. So what I'm actually going to do is go into a middle grade that I got from Owl Crate Jr. I think I'm really going to enjoy this. I think it's going to be very cute, and it should be a relatively quick read. The audiobook is on BookBeat, and it's about 5 hours and 20 minutes or something, and it is a Rover Story by Jasmine Wager. I haven't heard many people at all talking about this, but it does sound really cute, and I did get it from Owl Crate Jr. So it is one of my subscription box books. I do have a Dear Reader letter and then a signed book plate as well. But this one says, meet Resilience, a Mars rover determined to live up to his name. Rez was built to explore Mars. He was not built to have human emotions, but as he learns new things from the NASA scientists who assembled him, he begins to develop human-like feelings. Maybe there's a problem with his programming. Human emotions or not, launch day comes and Rez blasts off to Mars, accompanied by a friendly drone helicopter named Fly. But Rez quickly discovers that Mars is a dangerous place filled with dust storms and giant cliffs. As he navigates Mars' difficult landscape, Rez is tested in ways that go beyond space exploration. As millions of people back on Earth follow his progress, will Rez have the determination, courage and resilience to succeed and survive? It sounds really cute, and it sounds like a middle grade version, but with a robot instead of human, of The Martian, which is one of my favourite books of all time. So I'm very excited about this, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be really cute, and it should be a relatively quick read. I should be able to get through it. Oh, how cute is that? I should be able to get through it quite quickly. I don't anticipate I'm going to finish it tonight, but I should be able to get a decent way in. Adorable, and I'm looking forward to it. I thought this would be a nice, you know, I don't anticipate that this is going to get a low rating. I really fucking hope not anyway, otherwise I think I've definitely cursed my year, and I might just have to start the whole thing again or just end it for the year and start again in 2026. But anyway, I'm going to go into this one for my second book for this vlog. Evocation is a DNF. At least it's off my TBR now. It's not how I wanted the year to start, but it is what it is. So let's go. Good morning. It is Friday. It's 7:10. I've been up since 5:30. I'm so tired. I've got work at 10, so I wouldn't mind actually going back to bed and having to lie down for a little bit longer, but I probably shouldn't do that. But I'm here to give you an update. I have finished A Rover Story by Jasmine Wager. This was really cute. I'm not sure what I was expecting from this, but I wasn't expecting it to have so many feelings and to be quite as deep as it gets, especially towards the end. It was really, really sweet. We're obviously following Resilience, who is our rover that goes to Mars. And then we're also following Fly, who is a drone that goes with Resilience to Mars. But we start off with Resilience essentially, you know, at NASA being built, and Resilience recognizing the people that are working on him, the hazmats as he calls him, but the humans that are working on him. And we have Raina, whose daughter is writing letters to Resilience, Sophie. And it's really cute because as the story goes on, obviously I don't know what I was thinking, but I forgot that, you know, everything that happens, it takes a really long time, first of all, to get to Mars and to go outer space. And then once you're there, it takes a really long time to do the research. And then if they do come back, it takes a really long time. So we get to a point where Sophie goes from being in like I think she's about 6th grade or something, until she's like a complete adult. Like, she's graduated from college, she's, you know, got a job and everything now. So it does go on for quite a long time, but she never stops writing letters to Res, and it's really, really sweet. And then we have obviously Res having human feelings and kind of growing these human feelings, which is really sweet as well, and then passing them on kind of like to Fly. And then there is also a robot once they get to Mars that they end up communicating with as well, that kind of picks up on these feelings as well. And it's just really sweet, and it was a very cute story and very full of emotions as well, like really full of emotions, a lot more than I anticipated. And like I say, as you get towards the end, it becomes a lot deeper, not just in the sense of like Res and Fly, but the other characters as well, Rena and Sophie and their story. But it was really, really sweet. I ended up giving this 4 stars. It was very, very cute, and I really liked it, and I'm glad that I've read it, because as soon as it came in, this came in 2022, but as soon as it came in, I immediately wanted to pick it up, and for some reason I just didn't, and clearly I've sat on it ever since. So I'm glad that I've finally done it now, and I'll probably keep hold of this and give it to, well, actually my library's not taking donations at the moment because they're shut for renovations, and I don't know how long they're shut for. They've already been shut for about 6 months, so they're going to be shut for much longer. It's a listed building, and they're having problems with the roof, I think, so it's taking a lot longer than they anticipated, and they're not taking donations. So we'll have to see what I do with this. Maybe I might be able to get the schools down the road to take it or something. We'll find out. But yeah, glad that I've read it though. 4 stars for this one. That was great. So the next book that I think I'm actually going to pick up is one that's come in recently. I should probably kind of focus on my backlist, to be honest, but I think I'm going to find this project a lot more enjoyable if I'm mood reading within the books that I'm picking up. So I am still going to pick up God Killer because it's on my TBR, but I think that that's quite an intense book, and so I don't want to pick that up right now. I'll pick that up later on in the vlog, but for now I actually really want to pick up The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. This came in very recently. It was the November adult fantasy box, and I ummed and ahed yesterday because I was concerned. I was like, what if I end up DNFing this like I did with Evocation? Like, I assume I'm gonna love it and then I don't, and what if I get it completely wrong? However, I did read at the bottom of this, a cozy fantasy about trying to find yourself and finding a family instead, perfect for fans of legends and lattes, a sound for the wild built and house in the cerulean sea. They are 3 5-star reads for me. So I don't think I'm going to have any problems with this. I am very excited to give it a read. It looks really, really cute. I've been excited to give this a read since I found out about it earlier on in 2024. It was very much so on my radar and an anticipated release for me, and then I found out it was coming in the subscription box, so I'm really excited to have it. So this one says, fleeing a troubled past, immigrant fortune teller Tao roams the dusty countryside with only her mule for company, telling small fortunes for small prices. Big fortunes come with big consequences, which she knows from bitter experience. It's a lonely life until she encounters an ex-mercenary and a semi-reformed thief who recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure and, of course, a slightly magical cat. Tao sets down a new path with compassions as big-hearted as her fortunes are small, but as her friends break down her walls, the shadows of her past close in. Now Tao must decide whether to risk everything to save the family she never thought she could have. It sounds really cute, and I love me a found family and also a cozy fantasy, especially for fans of like Sound for the Wild Bill and Legends and Lattes and House in the Cerulean Sea. I love all of those books, so very excited about this one, really looking forward to it. I do have the audiobook, so that's cool. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the shop to open so I can go and get a Monster. I've got a cracking headache, which also isn't helping my tiredness. I would just like to take a couple of paracetamol and go back to bed, honestly, for a little bit. But I'm gonna try and make some progress in this before I go to work. I may go for a lie down for a little bit. We'll see what happens, but I will keep you posted on this. Good morning. It is Monday and it is quite early in the morning. That early, it's still pitch black outside. It's 7:20. I've been up since 5:30 as usual. Andy's gone to work. He starts his new shifts today, so he'll be finished for 3, and I think he's coming straight home. So it's been snowing. It was quite thick yesterday, but by the afternoon it had melted a little bit. So we did go to his mum's for tea yesterday. We've had quite a busy weekend and I didn't film any of it, so this is like purely a reading vlog, not a lifestyle vlog as well. My apologies about that. It's just been quite go with the wedding stuff, and I'm just not sure, you know, like what to film, and it's quite overwhelming. We went to our first wedding fair on Saturday, which was fantastic, by the way, and has really opened my eyes to quite a few things. We've got another one on Sunday this coming week, so our 2 top venues that we're looking at. So it's good to see the venues and stuff, but it was really interesting but quite overwhelming, and I wasn't in a position in my mind where I was confident that I could take my phone out and film some stuff. So maybe for the following one, which will then be in the Winterween vlog, but yeah, we did that on Saturday. Then we did end up going seeing my brother, my sister-in-law and the kids and my parents on Saturday. And then yesterday, like I say, it was a pretty chill day for the most part. I was doing some wedding planning stuff. Andy played on the PlayStation, and then we went to his mum and stepdad's for tea. So yeah, it was nice, and it's been quite a busy weekend. So he's gone to work this morning. I haven't had a great deal of time to get some reading done, but I've done some this morning, and I am still currently reading The Teller of Small Fortunes. I didn't get too far the other day, actually, when I started this. I only made it like 1 chapter in, I think, and I was really tired, so I ended up going for a lie down. Can't remember what day that was. Oh, it was before I was going to work. Let me just mute this TV. I forgot this was on and I don't want to get copyrighted. It was when I was going to my dad's on Friday. Friday? It was Friday. It was Friday. So it was when I was going to my dad's on Friday. I was trying to get through some of this before I went, because I finished a Rover Story, didn't I? That's what happened. And then I was trying to get through as much of this as I could before I went to work, but I was really tired, so I went back to bed. That's what I ended up doing. So I read like a chapter. However, I am now 116 pages into this, chapter 8. What I will say is, so this has been pitched for fans of Legends and Lattes, Sound for the Wild Bill and House in the Cerulean Sea. Now, those are all cozy fantasies to me, and they all work for me as well. I think Sound for the Wild Bill might not have worked as well had it been a full-length novel. It really worked for me because it was a novella, so there isn't really any plot to that story at all, but I'm super invested in both the monk and the robot in that story, so it works for me as a novella. In fact, both of them did in the series. Legends and Lattes, I was super invested in Viv, our main character, who's a retired orc, and I was super invested in, you know, what she was deciding to do with her time after retirement, etc, etc. And then with the second one, which is actually a prequel, I was already invested in Viv, so it was nice to see how, you know, a story from her past, and what happened with that, you know, before she was the Viv that we knew then in Legends and Lattes. And it worked really well. I loved the coziness of the town. We were set in one location. It was the coziness of the town. I loved Viv, so I was super invested in her. And other than that, not much else happened. She was setting up a coffee shop, and that is it. So House in the Cerulean Sea, we're following our main character, who is called, I think he's called Arthur. I can't remember if that's his name or if that's the other character's name. But we're following our main character, who's quite grumpy, and he works for a department that looks after kids, I think. And he gets called out to the House in the Cerulean Sea, where our other main character is actually running a house for, if you like, wayward children. Like, the devil's child is there or something, you know, that could bring about the end of the earth. And they're like magical kids, essentially. And I was super invested in all of the characters with that. And again, although it wasn't set entirely in one location, for the most part it was at the House in the Cerulean Sea. Sound for the Wild Bill wasn't necessarily. They were in a little bit of like a caravan. Again, a little bit like this. She's obviously got her little caravan. Tao has, the Teller of Small Fortunes. And they were travelling, but not too much for the most part. We actually got conversations of them sitting outside of the caravan when they were like camping, and having conversations between the two of them about life and putting the world to rights and stuff like that. This, that I'm struggling with, I think, is that I'm not invested in the characters. So there's little to almost no plot. The main point of this is that one of the people that Tao has actually done a reading for has lost his daughter. She went missing, I think a few months prior. She's like 4 years old, and she was taken. And he's been looking for her ever since. And then Tao does him a reading that essentially is like, you will buy your daughter such and such a thing. And then he's like, are you taking them in? Like, my daughter was kidnapped, blah, blah, blah. So they end up on this mission together with one of his friends as well. Then a baker joins them, where they're trying to find the daughter. And I'm not, the characters all feel quite one-dimensional. I feel like we haven't got a lot of the world building in yet. I feel like we haven't got a lot of information on the characters. We have just done a little bit of a deep dive into something in Tao's past, but it's taken 116 pages to get there. Otherwise, we didn't know anything about her other than the fact that she's a teller of small fortunes, which is repeated constantly in this. And similarly with the baker as well, it's repeated constantly that she's a baker. And I'm not invested in the characters enough for this story to hold my attention. I find that my mind is wandering and I'm just wanting to pick up other books, and I'm just really struggling with that. I'm having a hard time with it, and I'm really sad about it, because I naturally went into this thinking, oh, it's been compared, like, for fans of these 3 other books that I've all given 5 stars and absolutely love. So naturally I went into this thinking this is going to be the easiest 5-star I'm going to give all year, you know what I mean? But no, that is not the case. I am bored and I'm devastated about this situation, because I genuinely, like, this book is so beautiful, and I have been excited about this since I found out about it like earlier on last year and put it in my anticipated reads for the year, like one of those videos whenever it was coming out. So I've been devastated about that. And then obviously I was super happy to find out that it was coming in the subscription box, but it's just not working for me. I'm having a really hard time with it. I don't know if I think it's the combination of the characters don't really have any depth for me. I'm not invested in the characters, and therefore, because it hasn't got a great deal of plot, I'm just really struggling with it. For example, the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers, that series, the first book in that series, I ended up DNFing because for me, I wasn't invested in the characters. There is zero fucking plot in that book. It is literally a character driven book, which is fine if you're invested in the characters, which I was not. I didn't care. I couldn't have cared less, to be honest. So it didn't work for me, unfortunately, and I was nervous about going into the Robot and Monk series on that basis. However, it did work for me. I think because it was a short burst, because it was a novella, it did work. But the Wayfarer series as a whole, that first book, just didn't work for me because I didn't care about the characters. And I think a similar thing is happening in this. Not only that, but we're traveling around, so we're not settled in a town that I can get invested in, like Legends and Lattes, in which we were settled. Viv did settle down in a town to open up her coffee shop, so I was invested in the town. I was invested in some of the characters that were coming in regular. I was invested in the girl that started working in the shop, etc, etc. This, although it is deemed found family and these lot are ended up banding together to try and find this guy's daughter, I'm just not invested. I just don't care. I don't see the found family aspect of it because I'm not invested as a whole in them. There isn't much depth to them. They're all quite one-dimensional characters. Oh, and I just don't care. This isn't even like low stakes. So even the not Pirate's Life of Tea, that's the second one, Can't Spell Treason Without Tea series by Rebecca Thorne, that has been compared to Legends and Lattes, but I've always said it's more like Legends and Lattes is high fantasy, low stakes. I think the Can't Spell Treason Without Tea series is high fantasy, medium stakes. Like the stakes in it are much higher. This one, I haven't been able to fully figure out what the stakes are in this, because right now for me there are no stakes, but it does mention war, and I don't know if that's going to come into it a little bit more, and then I don't know if we're going to go from like no stakes to mid stakes very quickly, and I just don't think that's going to work for me. I'm really fucking annoyed, and I don't know what to do about this situation. I don't know whether I should put it down and stop wasting my time with it and just admit defeat. I'm just really annoyed because I thought I was going to like it, and now this is the second book in this video that I thought, like Evocation originally I didn't think I was going to like, and then I read Odd Spirits and got a false sense of security. This I always thought I was really going to like. The whole comparison to the 3 books that I gave 5 stars, again, false sense of security, and now I'm not having a good time. And I just don't know. Naturally it would just be a straight DNF, but I just don't know what to do. I don't know if it's worth continuing. I've looked on Goodreads at reviews. The majority of them are 4 and 5 star reviews, like glowing reviews, but there are a handful of DNFs. Some people have made it to like 70% through the book before they've DNF'd, and before they've got to a point where they suddenly realised they weren't having a good time. Some people have DNF'd earlier than that. Some people have DNF'd at like 170 pages. I'm 116 and I just don't know what to do with myself. And now I'm frustrated. I might put this down for the time being. Maybe I'll discuss it with my patrons or something and see what they think. I know they're going to tell me to DNF the book. If I'm not having a good time, that's what I should be doing, and it's what I'd do with anything else. But it's because I was just so invested in wanting to like it so badly. I think I am going to move on to Love on the Brain next by Ali Hazelwood. I need something nice and easy, and I think this is what I'm going to move on to next. I'm hoping that maybe I can fly through this today, fingers crossed, because I didn't get any reading done over the weekend. So I would like to fly through this today. Ali Hazelwood writes a lot of romance novels with STEM characters, especially female STEM characters as well. So I don't know the synopsis of this one at all, actually. So following B, who lives by a simple code, what would Marie Curie do? If NASA offered her the lead on a neuroengineering project, a literal dream come true. Marie would accept without hesitation, duh. But the mother of modern physics never had to co-lead with Levi Ward. Sure, Levi is attractive and tall, dark and piercing eyes kind of way, but Levi made his feelings towards Bee very clear in graduate school. Arch enemies work best employed in their own galaxies far, far away. But when her equipment starts to go missing and the staff ignore her, Bee could swear she sees Levi softening into an ally, back in her plays, seconding her ideas,
devouring her with those eyes. The possibilities have her, all her neurons firing. But when it comes to actually making a move and put her heart on the line, there's only one question that matters. What would be Koniswaza do? Nice. I am interested in this one. I am excited. I loved the love hypothesis. I think other than Not in Love, this is the only other one that I haven't read yet, and this one did come in an Afterlight box specifically, so it wasn't like bought separately, it came in an Afterlight box. So I am excited about getting to it. This has been a really long update, and I think I've been sat in this position for about the last 3 clips as well. I would apologise, but I'm not going to. Today I'm giving myself the day off work. I'm reading, obviously, so I'm still working. I can't do my job without reading, but I'm giving myself the day off of work. It's the last day of Bookmas today specifically, so my last video is done and dusted, ready to go. And I was still going to upload a Wednesday and Sunday video this week, but I think I'm just going to cap it at Sunday because it's been 12 days of back-to-back videos, and I feel like I just need to cap it. I was going to do like all my unread books video this week, and I just haven't got it in me mentally. I've not got it in me, so I'm just going to cap it at 1 video this week other than today's video for Sunday, and then I will push that video back probably to February when I've got a gap in Feb and do it then. I think that's what I'm going to do, and just give myself the time to read this week and enjoy some reading and just film that 1 video, which won't be a long video either. So yeah, I think that's going to be my plan. In fact, that video will already be up. It'll be the literature readathon announcement for February. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I really need to go to the shop and get myself a Monster. I'm hoping that it's open. Yes, it should be. So I'm going to go and do that, and I will check back in with you later, let you know what I decide to do, tell her about Small Fortunes, but I am going to go into this now. I do still want to get to God Killer as well. That is like my other aim for this vlog. Whether or not I fit something else in, I don't know, but that God Killer, Love on the Brain are now my goals for the rest of the vlog, and make a decision on Tell Her Small Fortunes. So I'll go get myself a Monster and get cracking. I've got Patreon sprints at 9:30, so that will keep me in check today as well. Okay, hellos. I've got a lot to update you on. Some decision making has been happening in the background here. It's still Monday, but some decision making has gone on in the background with today's reading. So let's start off with the Teller of Small Fortunes and what I made the decision to do with this. I was going to completely DNF this, but after some discussion with my patrons, I think I'm soft DNFing it for the time being. This is such a pretty edition of this book, and I genuinely should love this book, that we're all under the assumption that maybe it's just not, it's the wrong book at the wrong time, the right book at the wrong time. So it's going to go back on the shelves, and I will try again at another point in the year. So you may see this in another episode of Keep It or Yeet It, but this one for now is going back on the shelves as a soft DNF. I will probably end up, when I do pick it up again, I'll probably restart the book again. So I do want to give this another chance, because maybe it's just not the right time. So it is a soft DNF for that. I know I went on about it earlier, but I've had a good chat with my patrons about it, and we've agreed that that's what we should do. Then I went on to read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I've just finished. But while I was reading this, I was in and out of also reading God Killer by Hannah Kaner. So my intention, I made really good progress with this before sprint started, and then my intention was to do a sprint on God Killer, a sprint on Love on the Brain, a sprint on God Killer, etc, etc, until I finish Love on the Brain and then continue on with God Killer. Because I've been told that this book is not the type of book that you can read in one sitting. It's not the type of book that's conducive to like a 24-hour readathon. It's very slow.
So like the storytelling of it, the world building, the story, etc., incredibly slow. So I thought that if that is the case, I will get started on it. It could take me a few days to get through. A lot of my patrons said it actually took them a couple of weeks to get through this book. So I started this. I was going into this not confident I was going to enjoy it, honestly. I have bought Sunbringer, the Illumicrate version of Sunbringer. And the third one is coming out like later on this year, so it's good for me to know what I'm doing with this now. I wasn't going into it confident that I was going to enjoy this. I don't usually like slow storytelling. I like for my books to be quite fast paced, especially fantasy books as well. And I started this with the audiobook. Now the audiobook, even the narrator was slow and the storytelling of the audiobook was slow and I didn't like it. So then I switched to physically reading. I got like 20 pages in and it took me 55 minutes to read 20 pages. I'm not joking. I mean, I did pick the phone up at least once. I was allowing myself to be distracted. And I just don't think this is going to be for me. Again, after some discussion with my patrons, quite a few of them, some of them have liked it, some of them have not liked it. And they were like, not to enable you DNFing, because obviously I'm at a point now where I've DNF'd Evocation, I've soft DNF'd Teller, and now it's looking like I'm going to DNF a third book for this vlog. Which isn't a great start to my January reading, and B, it's not great for this vlog, but also it's doing what I intended for this vlog to do. Like, the whole point in doing this project is to help me get through my backlist of subscription box books. Now, on the basis that subscription box books are books that I have not chosen, would I have bought this had I seen it in the shop? Maybe, based on the cover, but otherwise, no. I wouldn't have. The Teller of Small Fortunes I would have, 100%. Evocation I wouldn't have bought. So it's helping me get through. I'm at least trying these books, which is the whole point. The whole point is that I'm trying them. If I end up with an episode at one point where I DNF 10 books, the whole point is that I've like tried. That's the aim. Like, I'm trying not to be picky, but I wouldn't have picked this up for myself. Other than the cover, because the cover is stunning, but I would not have picked this up for myself from the bookshop. It wouldn't have been something that I would have gravitated to. Evocation I definitely wouldn't have picked up from the bookshop myself. So these are books that I don't get to choose myself, so there's a good chance that this is going to happen quite a bit, where there might be a win and then there might be a couple of duds where I'm DNFing, and because I am an active DNFer, I won't waste time on books I'm not enjoying. So as I was saying, 20 pages into this, it's very slow and I just don't think it's going to work for me. Like, the fact that the audiobook for this book is almost 13 hours long, this book is just over 300 pages. I don't understand how that's a thing. Like, make the math. It's under 300 pages, 288 pages. The math ain't mathing. I don't get it. Why is the audiobook so long? I have made the decision to DNF this, unfortunately, but what it does do is gets 2 books off of my shelves, which is good news, you know? That's the whole point in this series, is that A, it gets me reading the books on my physical TBR, B, it gets me through my backlist of subscription box books, and C, I'm either going to keep some of those books or I'm going to unhaul them, and it will give me space back on my shelves, which is the whole point in doing this. So it's another loss for me as far as like reading and having the opportunity of finding a new favourite. Did I realistically ever think this was going to be a new favourite though? No, not even close. I actually predicted in my head that this would probably be a DNF for me from the second it came in. Did I still go ahead and purchase the second one though? Yes. Do I need to stop doing that? Also yes. So regardless, it's going to be another unhaul for me, unfortunately. It is a DNF, but it does mean I can get rid of Sunbringer as well. This will just go back on the shelf for the time being so that I can mention it in my wrap up, but the bookmark can come out. I'm done. So Teller's going back on the shelves. Godkiller and Sunbringer are being on hold. Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood is going back on the shelves. I gave this 4 stars. This was very good and I really enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed Bea and Levi. For the most part, the problem that these two have had is a lack of communication in their past. They know each other from their past, and it's a lack of communication and then misunderstanding in the present day. So Levi's convinced that Bea is married in present day because she wears her grandmother's wedding ring. Now she wears it because it's a piece of her grandmother's jewellery. Maybe what she should be doing is wearing it on the other ring, but on the other finger. But regardless, he's assumed she's married, and on the flip side, she's also assumed that he's married with a child because there's a little girl in a picture on his desk. Now, a lack of miscommunication kinda and misunderstanding means that these two haven't got on. She's convinced he hates her. Obviously every romance trope ever will let you know that that is not the case. He's always had feelings for her and it's just been a misunderstanding and a lack of communication. Once they did start communicating, it was great. However, she was still keeping a secret from him a little bit, but she didn't know at the same time that he was involved in that secret as well. I actually really enjoyed this. I really liked it. I forget just how easy Ali Hazelwood's writing style is and how nice it is to come back to it when I haven't had it for a while. So I think the last thing I picked up from Ali was one of her short stories, unless it was The Love Hypothesis, and I don't enjoy her short stories, but I do enjoy her longer ones. So the only one I've got left now until a new one comes out from her is Not in Love, which is her most recent. So I'm probably going to save that until nearer the time when a new one comes out. Because I get all of these obviously from Afterlight, so there is a delay between me getting the next one and the next one being released. Does that make sense? So, but regardless, 4 stars, it can go back in the shelves to my Ali Hazelwood collection, which is a success. So yay for that. Shout out to Ali Hazelwood for saving the day. So we're still on Monday, and obviously I assumed that then the rest of the week would be taken up, well, the rest of doing this vlog would be taken up by Godkiller, and that's now not the case. So I had to decide what to pick up next, and I really don't want another DNF. I'm going to be so pissed if I get another DNF. So I had to like really think my way through. Now I could have made this very easy for myself and gone for a middle grade or another romance, like I've got True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren that I could have gone for. I've got Heavenly Bodies, the new romantasy that's just come in, that I could have gone for. I even could have gone for the new Afterlight book that's going to come in January. I'm not going to mention it, but it has been released. I've got the audio book for it. I'm obviously just waiting for the physical copy to come in and get ahead of some of my some of my 2025 sub box books that are coming in. But I've decided that I don't, like I say, I don't want to rush through all of my middle grade and romance, because they're really good ones to have if I am having a shit episode of Keep It or Yeet It. A shit up episode in the sense that there's a lot of DNFs, not a shit episode in the sense that, you know, because it's still good. It's still part of the process. Anyway, I'm not mad at having so many DNFs. Like, I'm getting through the books at a rapid pace, which is the point. That's the whole point of this, is to get through the books. I'm glad about that. I think it's because it's ended up being the first vlog of January of the new year, and now I'm concerned that it's gonna have, I'm superstitious, so now I'm worried it's got a reflection of how the rest of my reading is going to go for the year, and I really hope that's not going to be the case. As I say though, these are books that are outside of my control. I have not picked these books. I haven't gone into a shop and picked them up myself, and then I'm pissed at myself for not knowing my reading tastes. These choices have been taken out of my control. But the book that I've decided to go for is a romantasy. I should probably get on with a romantasy, and this is actually only a duology, so if I really like this, I can read the next one for Final Book Support Group in 2 weeks' time, which is good news, you know? So I can wrap the series up very quickly all in January. So the book I'm going to go for is Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. I haven't read from Ella Fields before, but I do have Kingdom of Villains on my shelves as well. But I've decided to go for this one. I've seen a lot of hype for it, and I have seen it compared to the likes of Akatar, which I enjoyed, and I'm not sure what else the comparison was, but I think there's a chance that I could like this one, so I'm hoping that's the case. Beware the fae and never trust them with your heart. For 20 years I've been unwanted changeling. I have no name, no family and no answers. Until an irresistibly wicked fairy begins a seductive game of cat and mouse. I'm his prey, his treasure, a perfect pet. He offers a trade. He will take me to the fairy realms to assist in my search for the truth of who I am. In return, I must agree to marry him. But things are not as they seem, and soon after arriving at his wintry manor, I begin to unravel a dangerous web of lies. Far deadlier still, I'm fallen in love with a monster who has no heart. It sounds very Beauty and the Beast-esque, which is entirely up my street. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one. Also, cuteness. I'm obsessed. So yeah. Fingers crossed that I will enjoy this and it won't be another DNF, and if I enjoy it so much so, then I can read the sequel in a couple of weeks' time for Final Book Support Group. Win-win all round. Big sad that there isn't a sequel by Feraloo out yet, but maybe they'll do one and I will know then at that point whether or not I want it or whether I enjoyed it but I want to unhaul it, you know? So I'm going to get on with this because this has been yet another long update. I'm constantly yapping. I want to give you my thought process. This isn't like it's turned out not to be a lifestyle vlog this week. We're not doing reading and lifestyle this week. We're just doing reading, and this is the first episode of this, so I'm kind of yapping my way through my thought process entirely, and especially on the basis that I've DNF'd 3 books this week, I feel like I have to over-explain myself, and I shouldn't need to. Like, it literally doesn't matter to anybody else but me, but I feel like I have to over-explain myself because it looks like I'm being fussy. I'm not. I just wouldn't normally read this many subscription box books, aka books that are outside of my control, that I've not picked myself back to back. I would not read this many usually, but that's the whole point in this project, is to get up to date with them and potentially get ahead of myself so that by the end of the year I don't have as many on my shelves. Fingers crossed. Anyway, the rate this vlog is going, it could end up working out quite well. I think I'm being quite brutal with my culling of them, but at the same time, if I get 20 pages into a book and it's just not holding my attention and I'm a bit bored and I know it's going to drag and I've heard that it might not be up my street, I'm just going to unhaul it. I've at least given it a chance, and that's the whole point. I haven't just unhauled it without giving it a chance. I have given it a chance. So we'll see how the rest of this goes, but I'm going to try and make my way through a chunk of Nectar of the Wicked before Andy comes home. He's on his new shift now, so he will be finishing at 3. It is probably around 10 to 3 right now. So I'll try and get a chunk through this in the next like 35, 40 minutes until he gets home. I think we're nipping to the supermarket as well, so that's what I'm going to do. But I just wanted to come on and update you on the many books that I've got through today. Okay, hello. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and I was gonna have this vlog go until tomorrow because Winter Ween starts on Friday. I think I'm actually gonna end this vlog today. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we've got our 4th DNF of the video. 4th DNF of the year, and it is the 8th. The 8th of January. Oh dear me. I don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out, and I suppose with Winter Ween coming up, and I think this is why I want to end this vlog now and not pick another book to run into like the rest of today and then tomorrow. I think why I want to end this vlog now and get into Winter Ween is I'm actually concerned that it's me that's the problem and not the books. So as I've already discussed several times, I am obviously not in control of the books that come in with subscription boxes. I'm not picking these books specifically. I have in the last year or so started following a Instagram that spoils what the books are going to be. So I do have a little bit more control. However, sometimes, you know, there's a popular book that will be mentioned that was indie and has been picked up and is now in a subscription box, and I'm expected to love it, you know? And it doesn't work out that way. So I do not have control of these books, so maybe it's just a case of that I'm just not enjoying the books, and that's okay, and we're unhauling them. Maybe I'm the problem. also a possibility. So I suppose we'll find out in Winterween, because I am picking books up that I have then chosen for myself. So we'll find out in that vlog, which will be the vlog that comes up after this one. So good luck with that vlog to me and to you guys watching it. I don't know how this vlog's going to turn out. I don't know if I've been completely insufferable because I've been DNFing left, right and centre. I don't know if this is a whole new me going into 2025, in which I just have zero patience this year. And I'm just like, you know, I mean, I'm an avid DNFer anyway, but I am DNFing left, right and centre. I have got zero patience right now, and I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe the books are terrible, maybe I'm in a weird mood, maybe I just have less patience this year for books that I'm not enjoying. So Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. I should have loved this. This is a romantasy. It is, you know, for fans of ACOTAR, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, etc, etc. Should be right up my street. I cannot tell you how insufferable the two main characters are of this book, how little plot there is, and how much sex there is. So we're following Tulia, is the name that she's been given. She was given the name Flea when she's a changeling. So the woman that's brought her up for like the last 18, 20 years, whatever it's been, has treated her like shit and abused her, etc, called her Flea. And she ends up being taken to the market by this woman to be exchanged because she's actually fae. Flea is fae. So it all goes to shit, and then she ends up being this fae man ends up kind of taking her away from the situation that she then finds herself in, which is essentially a house where, you know, the girls are sleeping with guys for money, essentially. So the fae main character's name is Florian. So this main character, Florian, is a douchebag, and there is no romance between these two characters, none at all. They're in he needs her to marry him for one reason or another. I don't know the reason why, I can't remember. And he's just consistently eating her out, demanding she sits on her lap, on his lap, sorry, and just kind of bitching and belly aching to her. At her, not to her, at her. And he's just constantly telling her what to do. I don't like it. There's sex every like 5 pages and there's no plot. And I'm all for a super smutty book where there's barely any plot, so long as it's a novella. If it's gonna be over 200 pages, you've got to give me some plot, otherwise I'm fucking bored. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I got to page 155. I'm like almost halfway through this book. I cannot go on any longer. I don't care. And on the basis it's only a duet, maybe I should push through and try and finish it and then finish the next one. I don't care. I do not care. I couldn't care less. So we're DNFing this one, which is the 4th DNF of this video. And I'm ending this video here because I'm just honestly I'm not sick of the video at all. I mean, the point is going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've done kind of well. I've gotten these books I've got them read anyway. One of them will be going back on the shelf. Actually, 2 of them will be going back on the shelves. But the point of the video is pointing. You know, it's making its point. We started off with 45 books on the shelves, if I remember correctly. We're down to 39. So I've not done too bad, but there's been 4 DNFs in here. One of them is a soft DNF, granted. But there's been 4 DNFs. It's not been the success I would hope. It has, but not in as positive a light as I would have hoped for. So we did have Evocation, which I am DNFing, by S.T. Gibson. Devastated about that situation. We had A Rover's Story by Jasmine Waga, which I gave 4 stars. I liked it, but it will be unhauled. Then we have The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. I've soft DNF'd this one. My patrons have convinced me to keep hold of it and maybe give it another go. Maybe I'm just not in the mood for cozy fantasy, which could be a possibility. I have DNF'd Godkiller by Hannah Kaner permanently, which does mean that I can also get rid of Sunbringer, so that actually gets 2 books off of my shelf. shelves. So success for that. I read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which I gave 4 stars. Will go back on my shelves to join the rest of Ali's books. I am down to 1 book from Ali Hazelwood though, and 3 novellas if you include the festive one. I don't know how I feel about those novellas, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like the first one, and apparently they don't necessarily get any better, so it is what it is. And then I did DNF Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields. So, you know, 6 books done in this vlog. 4 of which will be unhauled. Only 1 of those I actually finished. A soft DNF will go back on the shelves, and an actual completed book will also go back on the shelves. But 4 books being unhauled, 5 including Sunbringer, and I also spotted that this was still on my shelf as well, and I am unhauling this one because I have also DNF'd an Academy of Liars previously in 2024. So I will be getting rid of this Evernight edition of this as well. So, you know, overall, you could say it was a success. I'm just tired of being negative and I want to go into something a little bit more positive. So I am going to start my Winterween vlog now and get into that, I think. See if that is any more positive. A girl can dream, right? I've not had a 5-star yet. I've actually only completed 4 books so far for the year, 2 of which were in this vlog, 1 of which was an arc, and a 4th one was a book that I then, partway through my read of Evocation, I decided to then read this graphic novel because I didn't want to start the year off with a DNF. I thought it might be bad luck, which as it turns out is quite possibly the case. So we could in general have an all-round shit year, but I haven't had a 5-star yet. So I mean, we're only 8 days into January, but on the basis I've had 4 DNFs, it's not good. It's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. So we'll have to see what comes up with Winterween and whether or not I actually hit a 5-star read in Winterween. That would be interesting. So anywho, first episode of Keep It or Yeet It completed. I honestly don't know how I feel about this. I'm a bit nervous for editing Steph to have to go into this, I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that this was a raging success, if you think it's me that's the problem, if you think that maybe I've just decided to be a bit more picky in 2025 and that's okay, or if you think that this was a complete failure. I'm really interested to know what you think. I think in general it's been a success. Like, the point of the video has gone well, you know. I've gotten 6 books off of my TBR, which is the point, plus an extra one with Sunbringer, so that's kind of the point, isn't it? To reduce the TBR, that's the whole point. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.